Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, Chip? What's going on, everyone out there in the On the Chain community? Whether you're tuning in from Rumble or YouTube or Twitter or our one viewer over there on Twitch, you know who you are. It's great to see everybody. Today we are going to talk about why Bitcoin may be better than XRP. XRP, time to move over. Get out of the way with your fast payments and your cheap payments and all that great technology that was being developed on the XRPL, because Bitcoin might be taking that king spot for good. We got to talk about that. What's that all about? The SEC is under fire. What again? Man, the SEC with Gary at the helm. We love him. We know all about that. The insanity over there. And Chip, I think you reminded us that it is now the year of the dragon coming up for 2024. So we're going to talk about that too. And I think that's it. And Chip, there's going to be a little bit of an article, a little Easter egg on why I may buy an Apple-made product.
We have to dig into this, Jeff. This is worth exploring. We got to figure this one out. This is like, guys, this is monumental. I'm just kind of taking back a little bit. We just sit back, relax,
sit back, and
get your breath. Let's see what the turn's going to be here. Let's see. Okay, guys, see you in 5.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Welcome to On the Chain, guys. Drop where you're from. So we have all things firing, like Jeff said, Rumble, YouTube, and all the other channels. But drop where you're from. You know, the country, the city, the state, whatever, the province. You know, whatever part,
wherever you might
county, wherever you are, man. Just mix it up a little bit. We want to see where that is.
And
so this Bitcoin thing is interesting. You know, it's like move over, Rover, because Bitcoin's taking over. You know, it's like kind of how it works. So it's good to see where Noir says join, want to be fresh, join, good for what? So
want to be fresh, Noir.
Be fresh people. Good to be fresh. So listen, this is interesting. So last week we talked a little bit. Well, I think early in the week we talked about Coinbase, and Coinbase is interesting because Coinbase actually allows you to send money to someone via an email. And now we've got this latest development here. This is River Link launches. Let me get a little bit zoom
look at that. We got Tel Aviv in the house over here. XRP.
Tel Aviv, sweet.
River Link. Welcome Tel Aviv.
To send Bitcoin by text. Riverlink also allows users to send Bitcoin globally via text, simplifying and making Bitcoin transactions more accessible across various messaging apps. So this is pretty interesting, Jeff. I mean,
I think so.
I mean, just the idea that, because everyone's talking about Bitcoin, everyone says Bitcoin, but you're like, hey, can you send me some Bitcoin? They're like, oh, you have a wallet? No. Do you have an exchange? Oh, nobody knows, right, Jeff? And it's like, do you have any of this stuff? It's like, no, I don't know. I mean, so Riverlink facilitates the seamless transfer of Bitcoin through text messages, offering users a straightforward and user-friendly experience. It eliminates the complexities often associated with Bitcoin transactions. Now, here's the thing, Jeff. Have they solved the transaction time? No, but the value of being able to do it and get it to somebody.
Transaction cost?
Yeah, that's another one. So traditionally sending Bitcoin to new users involves a creation exchange of a public address, and the process can be cumbersome for non-tech users. Riverlink seeks to overcome these challenges by leveraging the widespread use of messaging. So if you're using like things like WhatsApp or, you know, Jeff, you and I leverage Signal or Telegram. I mean, basically anywhere you can send a message to somebody, right?
And it's not limited. Some of those apps that come out, they're like, oh, you can only do it over your Messenger app, or, you know, you're very limited on how you do it. I like how, regardless of the platform that you're using, you're going to be able to use their solution.
No, it's interesting that they're also including in that group Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. Now, I'm thinking you don't post it publicly, or do you? Is it posted publicly, or is it something where you're actually a DM?
Well, I would assume it would have to be a direct message somehow. Imagine you're putting it out there and just say, hey, I'm going to send you some money. Here it is. and you throw out the link. And then, but maybe there's a trust. Maybe there's something that has to be established, you know, so you can set it up.
So it's interesting. So it looks like you get two options. So you can either set up a River account over there, or you can actually plug in your external wallet. So it's not like limited to like just an ecosystem. If you have a wallet, then cool. You can send a text message to somebody, they hook up their wallet, great. If not, you can create an account there, and it looks like it's built on the rails, offer you to send Bitcoin to anyone, reimagine Bitcoin transaction experience. Now it's funny because like if you want to send XRP to somebody, now you can I think you can do it through a sum, which is now going to be Zaman. Sum is changing to Zaman. I just got
Zaman?
used to saying Zum. Now it's going to be Zaman. I mean, Sum was like sum, like SUM. Zaman is
thing
like
is,
ramen noodles. I don't know
yeah,
what it
but
means.
it was recognizable also by XUMM. Easy to remember, easy to think of. There's not many X things out there other than X. But you're not running around talking about xylophones. So the thing is, Zum was kind of an easy thing to remember. Zaman, that rhymes
Rhymes
with
with
ramen.
ramen.
I guess that's an easier one but I don't know if I didn't like Zum in the beginning, but then I kind of grew to like it a lot. It's just because it was so easy to remember and it was just kind of a cool thing. But the Zaman, I'm not sure if I'm on board with Zaman.
Well, whether you're on
Yeah.
board or not, it's already changing, Jeff. It's like we don't have a choice in the matter. But I think because, yeah,
Where was our vote? Where?
well, we did have a vote. We did put up a vote to see if because don't you remember that the token was going to be called before it was called ZAO, it was going to be called XRP something else dash
Right.
something, and I
Yeah.
thought that
And
was
that was a
massively
mistake.
confusing.
Yep.
And so he heard a lot of flack about it. He put up a poll on X, and then people voted, and overwhelmingly, I think it was like 80 or 90%. People are like, just call it ZAO. If it's ZAO, Zaman, the whole thing. Because anything derivative XRP, like I get it, like the exchanges for NFTs. So you have XRP.cafe, you have on XRP, but quite honestly, I would see that these exchanges as they grow and want to develop, you don't want to necessarily pigeonhole yourself. Now you look at
Right.
like Magic Eden, came out and they have multi-chains there. So there's a bunch of different chains you can actually participate in. Bitcoin's one of them with ordinals. But I like the idea of like growing an exchange and giving people the choice. So
Mhm.
let's suppose they wanted to add them. You're kind of pigeonholed because now you're XRP.cafe or you're on XRP, which I like because it's the XRPL. But quite honestly, is it really XRP or is it the XRPL, right? The
Right.
XLF20s.
Yeah. And that's problematic, when you're using someone else's brand in your brand. And it does, like you said, it gets confusing. It's an easy identifier for right now. Like, hey, go to XRP.cafe, and boom, you're there. You can figure it out. You get it. Like you said, on XRP. But to scale a business like that, you're going to have your own identity, and using the the name of an asset in your brand name is a mistake. And I think that's where, as you're mentioning, even with Zum or having the ZAO token, and there's a lot of them out there where you see a lot of XRP derivatives, and it does come back to bite them in the end, because if something happens with XRP, let's say, then you're done, you're out, and that's where Magic Eden. Think about OpenSea with Ethereum; they only used Ethereum, but OpenSea kind of has its own identity, has its own brand, its own recognition. Magic Eden has its own recognition. And look how it's multi-chain. They're looking for growth right now. If you look at the XRPL, the volume is very, very low as compared to some of these other platforms. Where if you go to the Bitcoin oracles, volume is high. There's a ton of volume going on, transaction volume, as you see with the OpenSea off of Ethereum. So you're very limited in your marketplace if you're only focused on one asset class, and especially when that asset class kind of suffers a little bit in not just volume but price movement.
Yeah, there's a lot of great projects up here. There's like you said, the multi-chain, but if you want, you can go Solana, and it's great because I mean, most people hold more than one digital asset anyway. So it's like Polygon, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Solana, and they can just keep expanding if they want, right? If they wanted to, they could add XRP,
Mhm.
XRPL technically, I think would be the more appropriate one. But again, it's always interesting to see um, evolution of a new technology. And you got to imagine that XRP.cafe just celebrated, I think like a week or 2 weeks ago, the first anniversary. Like, we act like this has been around forever, and
Right.
really they only launched with 1 or 2 projects. Now they've got over, I think, 1,200-1,300 projects. They're also the number one in the space with they have over 60%. I want to say like close to 60% of all the secondary transactions across all of the XRPL exchanges, which is pretty big. So they've done a good job of growing it. So we're happy to be over there with our badass Yetis, which is
Badass Yetis. Badass Yetis are kick ass over there
kick
on
ass.
the XR. Oh, almost knocked my coffee over in the
Not a good.
XRP.cafe.
Look at this right here. So, every time I see this, I get a little bit agitated, Jeff. So the Ripple unveils in-depth report on the global rise of CBDCs and their impact. And lately, it's become more and more difficult to show any kind of uh, articles or posts up here because there's so many scam things that just, I don't know if they're written by AI or they rip them off. But this guy right here, Siamak Masnavi, I've been following him for years. He's always been plugged into the XRP community. He's probably one of the better guys in there for at least the last 4 or 5 years that I know. So I see his name on that. I'm like, okay, this is a good article. And then we've got, December 14th, Ripple released a 23 report titled CBDCs, Digital Evolution of Money, which I don't know, Jeff. I mean, is it the digital evolution of money? I mean, a CBDC, if you have a digital dollar, a digital yen, a digital, right, kind of like what we saw in Palau, right? That wasn't a CBDC. It was simply leveraging the XRPL to do inexpensive transfers, mainly because most of the Palauians live outside of Palau. I mean, if they all went back, there wouldn't be enough room on that tiny little island. So a lot of times they grow up, they go to university, and they travel somewhere, but they still have family back there that they want to send value to. So I like the idea of it. If you want to digitize whatever your fiat currencies, that's one thing. But this whole central bank digital currency, the first word is the first problem, Jeff. Centralized. Nobody wants centralized stuff. It's potentially programmable. It talks about the all the CBDC projects that they're engaged in, exploratory phases in countries like the U.S., South Africa, and it's so funny because Warren, we saw this committee report where he was just blasting the guy behind the scene. He was saying like, well, why are you hiring developers? He's like, we're just exploring. He goes, but you're hiring developers. Are you building something? He's like, well, we're just hiring developers. It's exploratory. And kind of what he's getting at, Warren Davidson was saying is like, well, hey, you can't do anything. You can't do a CBDC. You can't do it through executive order. It has to go through the House, which controls the purse strings, right? All monetary items have to go through the House of Representatives, which Warren Davidson is a member of. And he's grilling this guy, and the guy's like, we're just looking into it. He goes, but you're hiring all these developers. Are you doing tests? Are you prototyping? He's like, no, I mean, Jeff, it sounds pretty shallow, right? I mean, to be able to say that.
Yeah, I'd be concerned, over the whole notion of the CBDC, the central bank digital currency. I get it. It's one of Ripple's uh, use cases. It's something that they're developing, something that they believe strongly in, and from their perspective to grow their business, it makes a lot of sense. So I'm not gonna, take away from the direction of what they're trying to accomplish. But overall, if the confusion that a lot of people have, especially kind of in the non-technical space, we have all those that are kind of early movers into cryptocurrency. For the most part, I think everybody gets it. They understand the distinction between a decentralized crypto asset or a digital currency versus a digital currency, dollar, euro, based off of a CBDC notion. And this is where it gets a little murky for the layperson out there that is hearing all these things about Bitcoin. They hear about the digitization of currency, and then all of a sudden someone like Elizabeth Warren gets on, on TV, and she starts talking about the benefits of digital currency after she spent the past couple of years denigrating cryptocurrencies with her buddy Gary Gensler, the two of them talking about how cryptocurrencies are only used for nefarious purposes, where now they're trying to promote the digital currency as they move us to a socially controlled currency where the government is now 100% in control of your expenditure, and you have to use their wallet, you have to use their platform. and it's all dictated through the central bank. Now, the question then comes down to, what does Ripple have to gain from it? And is their platform designed and developed so that there's privacy built into it? And this is one of the biggest issues, is privacy and allowing individuals to be able to hold and spend money without government oversight.
Yeah, it's troubling at best, man. I mean, the whole thing to me is there's not a lot of transparency on what a CBDC. Great stats. Like, here's a survey that showed 85% of global finance leaders believe their countries will launch a digital currency. I have a problem calling it a digital currency versus a CBDC. A digitization of a fiat is very different than a central bank digital currency, right? So it's like a CBDC is very different. And we saw that kind of how that worked with Palau. There's no programmability into it. It was just it was digitized so that you could send value, right? But a CBDC is not actually that. And the other problem that I have with this is that, by the way, Jeff, this isn't going to win us any awards with Ripple. I mean, we're not going to be able to. But look, they mentioned the IMF underscores the importance of balancing technological advancement with policy development. Blah blah blah. This Kristalina Georgieva, I've seen her speak so many times. I don't know what she's talking about half the time. It just seems like more Marxism, communist, like to restrict you. It's like they always talk about when they start waving the financial inclusion mantra flag, financial inclusion, we care about you. I'm like, okay, now I know you're full of shit. Okay, I'm sorry, I have to call you on that, right? Because Jeff, they're really not interested in us, right?
Right.
But they always want us to think like, well, we're just so concerned about your privacy. We care about privacy. We care about financial inclusion. And then I was like trying to well, what does that mean exactly? Financial inclusion, right? Fiat currency solves all that, right? And they're like, well, if you want to get a loan, suppose you want to do this, suppose you want to do that. And they keep touting this central bank digital currency and how they're working with all these countries. But what's the end game for this? Like, is there programmability built into it, Jeff?
That's the biggest question. Are they programming this money to where they have control over it and they're removing the privacy element? Financial inclusion is a big issue in terms of, there was a lot of conversation over the unbanked. That narrative can be spun in multiple different directions depending on your political outcome, your desire, whatever you want the people to think when you're using these terminologies. But the unbanked is an issue, mainly overseas in developing countries, overseas meaning outside of the U.S. However, we see within the inner cities, we see a large percentage of the population are unbanked, mainly because there are no banks to readily access, and they have a lot of check cashing stores in order to facilitate. And so basically it's work, get your paycheck, cash it for a 20 to 30% fee, get your cash, never put it in the bank account. And they create this cycle so that you're keeping these people unbanked. They're not within the system. They aren't establishing credit, and you keep them be below the poverty line. And then when you go overseas to a lot of these developing nations, individuals remain unbanked mainly because of lack of access to the banking infrastructure. So if there's no banks within their communities and it's a great distance to go there, or we become super complacent in the US that banks are really easy to access at all times, and most of our transactions for the most part within the bank are relatively easy to access. But you go overseas and there's long lines and there's high costs. It's not, you can get a bank account here pretty much for free. In many other countries, it's not free. And so, again, if you have to travel 30 minutes to an hour within those communities, get to a bank, you're not going to go to the bank. But then they also live below the poverty line. So it's that community. And Chip, you and I have talked about it a lot. You think about, like, in South America, the coffee growers, we're talking about those that are growing the coffee beans. Typically what happens, they have their small farm, they grow their coffee beans. Then there's a wholesale distributor that they might sell to, someone that gathers the coffee beans. They're the ones that bring it to market. They're the ones who then ship it overseas, and then it gets roasted, and there's multiple layers within it. But if we could imagine that someone comes into a decentralized environment to where they're banking themselves, to where the grower can interact and interface with a client, with a customer overseas, and then they can package their beans and ship their raw beans overseas to a customer that's paying them in a digital asset. You cut out all the middlemen, cut out all that fat, but the incentive of all that fat is how the politicians stay rich. So, and that's how they're enriching themselves, and that's how they maintain their they think that they're maintaining their purpose. Same thing with the banking infrastructure. The banking infrastructure is so fat, mainly because of all these different equations, but they're excluding all these people. They don't want those people within it. And so if you're not banking, you don't have credit, you can't get business loans, you can't get vehicle loans, you can't get equipment loans, all these different things to allow you to build your business further. So these small farms in South America say small because they can't expand through the banking infrastructure, which is what allows them to take out a business loan, to get a vehicle loan, all the different things they need to go further. But that's because they don't have access, direct access, or easy access, or cheap access to banking infrastructure. Chip, I don't think a central bank digital currency is going to change that. I think it's going to make it worse.
I think you're right, Jeff. That's a good point. It's like the problem they're trying to solve. They always introduce the problem, then they introduce the solution. This is what governments do. It's like, look at this problem over here. You know what we do? We do this, and the government's notoriously bad at solving problems because there's no accountability. The accountability should be to we the people. It's not. They just kind of run rampant. And one thing I want to interject there is one was thing really important for putting our Badass YETIS coffee company together was that our coffee beans had a chain of custody. We know from the grower all the way down, because what happens is these big companies roll in, they kind of all get together and they go like, hey, we're not universally, it doesn't matter which one of them purchased, but we're going to pay this minute amount. And so no matter who they try to sell it to for distribution, they're paying this little tiny fee. And they sort of like price lock it across the board. And it, like Jeff said, it hurts the growers. And so that was really important to us to have that chain of custody so that these little guys aren't getting ripped off. And, my wife was recently in Colombia and visited some small coffee farms too that sold directly to the public. They sold it to distributors, but they also sold it, usually had some kind of a stand or some kind of a front that they would be able to sell out of.
Right. So here's Jim D's comment to all of this. Those South American coffee growers are using fair trade private sales through many U.S. private church sales to bypass the big Starbucks kinds of market control organizations. And that's a big part of it. You get that the big box stores are going to crush the little grower, and they're going to keep, making sure that they buy at cheap prices. Now imagine you can go fair trade, which is also, you can spin that terminology in many different directions. Take fair trade, and we could say, hey, it's creating an environment where these people can grow their business, where they're not being crushed by the big boxes that are trying to keep them low price, and let these guys build up. Or we can say fair trade, which is price regulation. So I guess it depends on what side of the political spectrum you approach that one.
And this is why a lot of people have asked us, like, why have you guys gone, why are you on YouTube? Why are you more focused on, digital currencies, blockchain, XRP? And then on your Rumble show, it's a little more political, because I think what most people fail to realize, and Jeff and I are really clued in on this, is that everything's politics. It all goes down to the money and the politics. Always, everything's political. Everything has a political connection. And people that are agnostic to are like, I don't choose a side. You do. If that's your choice, then you're choosing to not be involved. Or you're like, oh, it doesn't matter, it's a uniparty, who cares what happens? Because then what do? You roll over and play dead, and then the next thing you know, people think, oh no, I'll go to another country. And you go to another country, because if the US falls, it's over. It'll be over faster than you can say hello. China will roll in, Russia will roll in, and you guys will all be speaking either Mandarin, or you'll be speaking Russian. That's how it works. And it'll be like, but I'll be in a little tiny, okay, it'll take a little longer, 2 years. But if it falls here, that's shining light on a hill. If it does fail here, it's Canada. It's all gone. And we see what's happened in South America. Especially what's happened recently with the election in Chile last year. They basically said, well, we want a dictator back. Pinochet wasn't enough for them. The destruction of businesses and everything else, like the dictatorships they had in the 70s and 80s, that wasn't enough. But everybody wants to go back because money. Venezuela, we'll give you free gas. We'll give you free this. We'll give you free that. And the next thing you know, they looked over their shoulder and their businesses were taken. And then you have Javier Milei, who comes in rolling into Argentina, who everybody seems to be rooting against this guy, and he's like shutting down the central bank. He's already gotten rid of, I want to say, like out of 16, like almost half of all this government agencies, and that's kind of what has to happen here. I feel like the over-regulation, everything starts out as a good idea with good intent, but it somehow loses it. I've got that video with Warren Davidson here.
I did a quick Google search for open jobs at the Federal Reserve, and the regional banks are using the keyword CBDC or key acronym. It looks like the San Francisco Fed and the Boston Fed are hiring for CBDC development roles, programmers. Can you provide an update for the panel on the Federal Reserve's development of a United States central bank digital currency?
So the Federal Reserve is doing research on CBDC technologies, trying to understand the technologies themselves and how they might be useful. It's a research. And
now this guy right here, I don't know. We got to look at him, but this Mr. Michael Gibson, dude, this is like so junior of an answer. Like it doesn't even pass the sniff test, right? He's like, well, we're just looking at, the technologies and learning about it. Now, who talks like this? You're somebody in a hearing from the Federal Reserve, and you're talking like, well, we're gonna, this is how a 20-year-old kid would talk, right? Yeah, CBDCs, we're exploring technologies. I mean, this is just lame. This is what happens when you're lying through your teeth. But let's listen to the rest of this.
Experimentation at this point.
Experimentation. You're hiring developers for experimentation, not building anything. No.
And it's not an implementation of a CBDC.
Oh no, Jeff! Of course it's not an implementation.
You hire people that write code. It starts seeming like you're developing and building versus researching. What's the nature of the research? We're going to build it and test it, fire it, and see how it works.
It's calling them on
I think the research is to understand the technology, understand the different approaches that.
So you don't need to hire developers to understand the different approaches or the technology, okay?
That people are talking about, understand the risks. It is a research effort.
It's like a near implementation, but we'll run it for a while and see if it really works, or are you building something that would be functional, or is it just research?
So we're a long way off from thinking about implementation of anything related to a CB.
It's the same garbage thing over and over again, where he's just trying to nail them on. And credit the Dark Horse who posted this. And I don't know when this clip is from, but it's funny that, first of all, I don't know where are they even hiring developers for anything CBDC related. A CBDC in the United States can only be even started or researched or anything if the House of Representatives has to approve it and has to go through the Senate and has to get signed. Right. It's not going to happen at this point. So,
right. Look at that shout out from Tony Morissette. Thanks for keeping this channel going. That's
absolutely,
awesome.
Man. I appreciate that. I'm going to get this. Joe Buddy said this. He said, Warren will be powerless if he doesn't hold the gavel. Just stop voting anti-crypto Democrat. And then, I'm sorry, not Warren Davidson. This is Warren Pocahontas. I'm sorry. Elizabeth Warren. She will be powerless if she doesn't hold the gavel. Just stop voting anti-crypto Democrat, and then she can be kneecapped to basically useless. We got to hope Democrats don't steal power again. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I think what you're going to see is a universal flipping of the House and the Senate. Because, you pulled them up, Jeff? Okay.
There's your buddy. I don't understand. So this is his board of governors of the federal. And I get it, I don't like wearing a tie, I don't mind wearing a collared shirt. I don't like wearing ties. But if you're going to put your profile picture up for the board of governors of the Federal Reserve, and you're not going to wear a new shirt, you get a little fade in the collar, you're not going to wear a brand new shirt, you're not going to put a tie on, and you go with a dark blue shirt, that just shows. And obviously from what we see with him now, he's kind of gray and gray beard and everything. So it's an older picture. I don't know. I just have to question his thought process on everything that he does based on putting up a profile picture like this.
But he went to MIT, Jeff.
Well, maybe that's the problem. He went to Stanford and MIT. I don't know. I'm really, I'm not going to knock these people. I know they're really smart, but I'm starting to question, especially after everything we've seen with the presidents of those schools and the stuff we've been seeing coming out of these elite universities. I'm questioning the intelligence, the street smarts of most of these people. I'm not going to question their book smarts and their aptitude for mathematics or science, but I'm going to question their street smarts for reality and existing in our real world and interacting with people. I'm going to question that, and I'm going to hold them to a different standard because they try to hold themselves to a different standard and pretend that because they go to an elite university somehow makes them better than other people.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the way this guy, and we've talked about the way people dress before. Obviously, we wear t-shirts on our podcast, so who are we to talk? But if you're going to put up your profile picture, at least put a suit and tie on for the Federal Reserve. I'm going to trust this guy who has a PhD in economics with our money and to say that he's doing the right thing. He's a researcher for the Federal Reserve, and he is going to make the right decision for a CBDC,
Oh, Jeff,
for a
can you
central bank
can you zoom in
digital
on his
currency.
photo? I want to make some observations. Just zoom in on his photo so we can see a little bit taller there. Okay, there we go. Good. So this is always something that's interesting for me, right? Because I'm just curious. Like, I'm blessed because I have my hair. I mean, I'm lucky. I mean, but I know, like, Jeff, like, so. But do you have those? Like, when I see the patches on the side like that, I'm like, dude, if I have patches like that, I'm just shaving my head. Like,
Right.
there's like, it's weird because it gives you a certain look. But
Yep.
that just by going bald is just to me, it's a much cooler look. Like, I don't know, it reminds me of, like, Mr. Garrison on on freaking South Park. It's like it's just like it's a weird, like, choice, right? And I know a lot of people do it, and I guess you want to keep some of the hair, right? Jeff, do you have those patches? Like, if you didn't shave your head, do you have those patches?
No, I've got a little bit extra. I haven't grown it out. I've shaved my head for so long, I couldn't even tell you.
How long has
I,
it been? Like, do you want to say 10 years maybe?
no, it's been at least 20 years.
Oh, really?
I've been shaving my head. So I used to have long hair like you. And then it's funny.
Jeff, where are those photos? Why don't we have those photos on here, Jeff? We have a photo gallery.
So I was asking my wife about it. She goes, I don't know where you keep those pictures. I don't know. But when I got married, I had a full head of hair,
Yeah.
but the thing is, it's funny, the hairdresser I'd go to in New York, my wife and I would go there. We'd drive from Detroit, go visit family in New York, and then we'd get our haircut at this salon. And this guy was awesome. I loved him. And so, little by little, like, I always change my hairstyle. And then and then one day he said, well, at that point he said, you have to enjoy it while you got it. I said, okay. He goes, you might as well, keep changing your hairstyle. So I always do something different. And then one point he said we should probably start shaving your head close. So we'd go to like a 2, right? He would shave it shorter and kind of, and he was a he's a hairdresser. He's not like a barber, but so we'd go shorter. Then one time he said, no, we should probably bring it down to a 1. Then I came in and he goes, you might as well just do this yourself. And I said, okay, that makes sense. So I got the clipper and I would still use a 1 and keep it short. And then at one point I'm like, screw this, and just shaved it all. And that was it. And then I've been just so much easier, just so much better.
Yeah, I know. It's a choice, right? I mean, it's a choice whether you want to do it. And it's so funny if you watch the evolution of this. Oh, no. Huddle the Auto says that.
Shaved his head and it never grew back.
Boy, that was I shaved my head and oh my God, it's gone forever. Well, it could have been on its way out at some point, but it's so funny to watch the evolution of this show. I played a clip the other day and, like, I had like almost like a brush cut. It was like,
oh my God, yeah.
it's so funny. It's like you watch the evolution, like, put together like a video of my hair has been changing, then it's long, and then it's short, and then it's like spiked, and it's all over the place.
I've been
It's like,
consistent.
and you're so he's like, Jeff, the same. It's like me, all switching. I watched this video the other day of a guy who is his daughter. Every week he took a snapshot of her in which she was talking at like whatever, and then over like 10 until she was a teenager. I'm like, that's a lot of dedication, but it was interesting to see her, like, her face change and her hairstyles, and just
Very
like how
cool.
she grew up was pretty cool. I was like, I don't know who has the fortitude to do that. I mean, that's something big time.
He said he looks like a pervy janitor. Pervy. He said.
Oh, pervy. I was like, a Perry. I'm like, what's a Perry janitor? Yeah, okay, there you go. Like a pervy janitor. Yeah, that's like always sweeping the floor, looking out the side, a little creepy looking.
What's really cool in the chat right now on StreamYard is that it's telling us whenever somebody joins on X. They've created an interface now. They can't chat with us, but it lets us know whenever someone's joining. Because I'm like, why do people keep typing joined? And then I just realized it's because when people join on Twitter, on X, to see us live on X, we can now see when they join, and it's keeping track of how many people are logged in and out on the X. So that's kind of cool because I know we get a lot of views over periods of time on, when it's on there. But we've
Yeah.
never really seen, and we can't interact with anybody when we're streaming live on X. It'd be nice if
No,
we figured out there was a way to interact with people.
that's a big time bummer. So
Are we going to talk about no, it's not build a bear. Let's be careful. You're
it's not
saying
Build a
build
Bear.
your bear today. It has
Build your
nothing
bear, yeah.
about build a bear, but it has a lot to do with Futureverse. And we had an experience where Chip got to build his bear.
Yeah, well, it's pretty cool. Well, so I mean, if you guys know at Mometa on X, we were talking and we were like, hey man, we really want to, how do we get involved in this? Like, what do we do? Like, because we just are really interested in it. He's like, here, let me send you a bear. So he sent Jeff and I a bear. And it's interesting because look at that Thriller jacket right there. But what's interesting about this whole thing was this is an NFT. The party bear is it's on the the ETH. But what's interesting is we were able to we'll have to do a teardown video on this, like just so we explain how it works and how you guys can get involved. But I mean, I think this is probably one of the coolest things going. We've talked about it certainly before. I just put him in some poses and I snapped a shot of him. But the thing is, my bear came with this the Thriller jacket on. He came with glasses and a background and everything. What we were able to do is bridge it to the XRPL and bring him over. And so just imagine, Jeff, when XLS20 NFTs
from
Ethereum was able to bring him over, which is just freaking marvelous, right? This whole interchangeability. We'll do a teardown video. But the idea is that imagine XLS20 NFTs or even like the Badass Yetis one day being able to go the opposite direction, right? I mean, that's where we're headed. And so the other day when Jeff and I were looking at this, you just basically go right here. Let's see, let me click over here.
And then you can move it over to the root network.
Yeah, you move it over to root network right here. But if you look at my stuff here, this is what I kind of broke down here. But like it had all this stuff and it kind of broke them all off to NFTs. This is called swappable. So you can actually swap this out for some other stuff, right? So this one was wearing an Ethereum hat. He had this like wheat chaff that he was like chewing on. He's got these heart glasses. And there's the this right here is the actual animation because he actually moves and the underlying animation. And then there's him right there. But it all kind of comes off as a kind of breaks it up into its own NFT. And what's interesting is like having XRP on MetaMask was such an interesting experience. But one of the things we can do, and we'll go into other stuff too, is that you sign up for a future score. You do these quests, like we did some staking, and you can stake. They have a DEX. I mean, this thing is so massively full powered. And then when you stake, there's like something like 350,000 plus XRP up for grabs. It'll be distributed across all the people, which is incredible. So it's just, you see how the movement, they have the movement on it. So I would say sign up for this future pass. We're going to do a teardown video on it. But to me, to be able to stake XRP, then you get rewards by doing these quests, by following them, and they open, they close. So depending on how many people get in, there's your quest right there. You have to have a future score for that. But they have all of these. Those are some of the quests that they've already had. And I'm like, oh man, how cool would that be if we get it? The XLS20s go in the opposite direction. We got these coming over to the XRPL. It's just very, it's just very exciting, Jeff. I mean,
it was a really cool use of NFTs beyond anything that we've seen so far, because you took your one NFT, and then as you broke it down, all of the different elements of the bear became an NFT. So all of a sudden you have all these multiple NFTs, and then to get to the trade point, and that's what's going to be interesting, is that you can redress these bears with different NFTs. So you have that base structure, and then you have the movement structure, then you have the sound structure, and there are all these different elements that we're building it. So it's such a development. I think, what we've seen so far with NFTs are all static, and, and they're typically, within, small, small file, and, kind of, a little, blurred because of size of file, especially over on the Bitcoin Oracle. But it's interesting to see that you can take all these different elements and build something up. I think we're finally seeing the point where it can revolutionize the gaming experience, because now if you can create, and there's always for a couple of years talk about the monetization of gaming, where it already exists, where you have all those different add-ons to your character, and you can go on to different platforms and you can buy and sell those different elements as long as you can trade them within the game. And so now if you can, you own it, and if you can bridge it over to the game, and you can maybe have someone that's creating these different elements, and you're buying them, and they're building value for rare items. And it changed the whole dynamic of how all of this can move around. And that's really exciting. I like
And
that.
this right here, like, I wish this wasn't on a black background. You know how I feel about these black backgrounds. And I went on a little tirade and with another XRP community
I can't
member.
read that white text.
Right. It's very difficult to read because white type on a black. Well, anyway, I have some. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But
A little
splitting is
blurry.
irreversible. You won't be able to bridge your unleashed party bear back to Ethereum. So that's interesting. So like once you bring them over, you can't. There's no way to actually bring it back. Now I imagine at some point there will be some interoperability. But the point is you can actually bring them over, and you can do the
That was cool.
splitting. So it's a very cool. And again, I think what we'll have to do, Jeff, is probably kind of put together, sort of a teardown video. We explain how this works, because I mean, out of all the things that have happened, I'm very stoked about this because I see the possibility of where we can go with this. But to be able to take your XRP, convert it, and be able to stake it, right? So you lock it in. I think it's 90 days, if I'm not mistaken. You lock it in, but then you can have all these rewards, right? Then you get
Right.
the Vortex token. And there's so much cool stuff there. And so we're talking about, and it's a lot to kind of sort of digest. So the Future Pass, you got to sign up for your Future Pass. You actually have a Future Pass address and a wallet. And what they're talking about here is that you have to, for this particular quest, the most treasure of all root rewards are based on the quest completion and your future score, which will be visible. And then this one here, which we also participated in, based on the number of trades you do on the DEX, but it has to be either Moai Finance or Dexter, either one of these. And then you do 1 to 6 trades, you enter tier 1. And it's like, it's a DEX, so you can swap stuff out. You can say XRP to root.
Cool.
That's what Jeff and I did. We got root, and then we go ahead and stake the root. So, and then you can earn Vortex tokens. But it's an incredibly cool ecosystem. And if you guys remember, Ripple made a pretty sizable investment in Futureverse, and they joined with a couple of other investors for $50 million. But the root network, because one of the things you find out right away is that when you're using Ethereum, the gas fee is pretty heavy versus when you go over to the XRPL, the gas is very low. It's like it's minor by comparison. And the root network uses XRP as the gas token. Why? Because it makes sense. They should use it almost all the time, but you're dealing with Ethereum. And then if you flip it over, then you don't have to deal with those fees anymore. So it's really cool. Probably something we have to get more involved in, but pretty excited about this just because of where it's going. And if you follow what Futureverse is up to, Aaron and Shar over there that run it are just dropping so much cool tech. Their team over there is just amazing. So I'm just blown away by it. So I've been really, steeped on this. I know Crypto Eddie's really talked a lot about it, which got us pretty interested in it. But she's been doing it. She's been, sharing it too. So if you follow her videos, you'll see some of this. But I think there's exciting things ahead for the XRP community and just exactly how this all will work.
Yeah, I'm excited. I really think that, whenever we see development, something new in the space, the fact that it's bridging across from Ethereum over to the XRPL, eventually they'll be bridging it back. I really think it's a significant development in the space, and I expect to see amazing things from those guys, within the gaming space, especially. Jim D is saying online gaming is how many of us OGs got into Bitcoin to buy, sell characters that we developed. Then came Mt. Gox to steal it all.
Right. And
that was the beginning.
That was the beginning. So I wanted to put this up there. So Mark Cuban put this. This is actually pretty interesting. I mean, it is pretty. Yeah. Oh, Jeff and I have been to the point of where we couldn't move our Ethereum off there because the gas fees were more than the actual amount you actually held in your MetaMask wallet. It's like, what?
Oh, it's crazy. It was crazy. I tried to move $50 in Ethereum, and it was going to cost me $25 to send it. Oh no, I was trying to send $15. I was going to send 15, and it was going to cost me 25.
So that's messed up. So Mark Cuban put this out. One of my companies created a great but compact crypto news aggregator. Let me know your thoughts. I created something like this many years ago, but mostly for political stuff, right? And so he created this, and it's pretty cool, right? So it's called One Page Crypto, onepagecrypto.com. I'll throw it in there, guys. If you guys are interested in taking a look at it. Now, it does kind of, does kind of cater towards Bitcoin and Ethereum, but because of the
Yep.
publications here. But again, the idea is that if I come in here, I can click on any one of these, and there's your story right there. So it's an aggregator. You can read the
This
headlines.
is really nice. I like this.
The block works. You got XRP, the price is up here. So this is like the idea of be like your homepage, right? To kind of start from. You got a dark
Not a
mode
lot.
if that's what you like, but I can't read that for anything. But anyway, this is what I prefer.
Where's our podcast on here? It should be here.
We're not on here, Jeff. So
On
like there's
chain. On the
Protos,
chain should be here.
like,
What's up with that? We should
like
talk.
they have all these, yeah, they have these, you know, the YouTube, it's all Bitcoiners.
It's a lot of stuff here. Holy crap.
Talk with the SEC and the Fed, anything happening with them. They got the podcast. Nope. They got bankless on here, Ethereum. They got Unchained on here, Ethereum and Bitcoin. So they're all kind of, they have
very Bitcoin centric.
yeah, they've got Peter McCormick, he's a Bitcoin maxi. They've got, you know, what is money, you know, the same, all of this stuff, and that's fine. And then look at this one, F. Gary. So this is all but anyway, these are podcasts that they, but the idea of it is Unchained Crypto. They've got Reddit Crypto. You can kind of see what's going on in just one page, which I like.
Yes.
Very cool. A lot of good stuff on here that you can check it out and look at, and pretty interesting. And
so Chip,
share
talk
it too.
a little bit, just kind of a side note outside of the crypto space. Talk about the year of the dragon.
Well, before we get in the year of dragon, let me finish this one up here, this thought here.
Not done
Now
with this one page crypto.
No, because we're not done with it. So anyway, so the reason I saw this was because Oscar had commented on, of course, Oscar, a long-term member of the On the Chain community. Love this idea. Consider adding dark mode. It's already there. I guess you didn't see the button for it, but that's what it should be my first thing. I didn't even see that, but I'd be willing to bet that 99.9% of people in crypto use dark mode. I might be the 0.1% that doesn't, Jeff. And it'd be a major first impression effect if it's available, easy to do as well. It needs X as well, next to Reddit Crypto and YouTube. And I said, I never use dark mode. I despise it. Makes it hard to read. Otherwise, they would print books with black pages and white type. Oscar said, like, no, that would be incredibly expensive and more difficult. But don't take my word for it. Screenshot brought to you in light mode, right? So he did this just for me because I wouldn't be able to read it otherwise. Highlight most important stats. 2020, 92% of software developers prefer dark mode. In 2020, 81.9% of developers preferred over light mode when coding. Android users, that tells you all you need to know right there, who use dark mode consume up to 43% less battery power and blah, blah, blah. All these stats here, right? Dark mode is preferred. I'm like, okay, so just wait.
Slade uses dark mode.
Yeah, well, it's easier on your eyes, and so you have to read something, right? Now, the only time I use dark mode on any of my apps is on YouTube because I want to be able to focus on the video and I don't want all the noise around it. But for me, I'm like, just wait till you're vintage like me. And I've been in trenches with developers for over a quarter of a century, and they're all about that dark mode life. I like dark mode, right? And there's coding in that. And they're coding with colors like red on a black background. I get it because people, their eyes hurt or whatever. And I'm like, I'm just old school. Give me black text on a white background any day. He's like, afraid I can't do that starting tomorrow. It's dark mode city for you. In fact, I want you wearing shades now. Don't test me, Chip. So Oscar's like throwing down the gauntlet here. And I'm like, bring it on, baby. Bring it on. So then he came back with this right here. Put me as Neo over there in the Matrix. And of course, he's like, he is the one. And then, of course, let me show you this, Jeff. Let me stop this because I have to put the video that I made.
That's what I'm interested in, is the video.
I got a little excited about this here. So let's look at this. So I added this video. There it is for everybody.
This video just got demonetized.
What's that?
This video just got demonetized.
No, that's not demonetized. That's open source music.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Sounded like Metallica.
No, it's not Metallica.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's some no name generic.
Wow, look at that.
Thing. And
guys are jamming.
Like, whenever you said something clever in a debate on X, you could just follow it up with this video. Effing love this clip, he said. Like, a lot coming from you. So anyway, that was like a lot of fun. But Jeff, we have
stuff. Hey, we got more monkey businesses at an auction right now bidding on polythene. Polythene is actually a plastic. And
Why?
polythene is typically used, it's made to make plastic, it's a chemical. So that's interesting. A lot of times you make plastic bags out of it and things like that. So we need more polythene
Well, that's pretty
in the
interesting. Like,
world.
I'm just curious what the use case is there.
Plastic bags.
Oh, plastic bags. Gotcha. That's what it's for. You buy that and you some.
Polythene is the most commonly produced plastic. It's a polymer primarily used for packaging.
Interesting.
It's very interesting. Maybe you can do other things with it too. I'm sure you could probably put it on a floor. I don't know. You make plastic out of it. Plastic flooring.
Well, Jeff, coming up in
Very cool.
2024, if anybody knows, the Chinese
Oh,
zodiac, they've
PVC
got.
piping too.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense too.
Anything plastic.
So next year, Emi Yoshikawa put this up, and she is the Web3 and crypto for Ripple, VP of Strategic Initiatives. And hang on a second. Oh gosh, this is too much. Anyway, 2024, the year of the dragon on the XRPL. And the reason what this kind of came about was this came about from this tweet that was put out by Ripple X that said prediction time 2024 is, and I want to see what you guys think on this one. And if you're on the rewatch, please plug your answer in. Just say 2024 and then your answer. So 2024 is the year of blank on the XRPL. So I want to see what your answer is going to be. Throw it in the chat there. Prediction time 2024, the year of the blank on the XRPL. And so Emi was saying that the year of the dragon is believed, she says 2024 is the year of the dragon on the XRPL. The year of the dragon is believed to foster growth, progress, and abundance according to Chinese culture. And it's awesome because she made this cool like image from chat. And she even said, hey, the image was produced by ChatGPT. But of course, Emi had to put the prompt in there, and she made this cool dragon pose picture there. It's a pretty cool looking picture.
It's a
And
pretty
then,
big-ass picture.
right, not bad, right? And I was like, this is great because you'll know exactly how old I am if you pick the right
Born in
year.
the year of the dragon. So let's see what
was-
years.
Go
Let's look
pull
up
up the year of the dragon, Jeff, and you can see exactly. There are going to be two chances. You can pick either 1976 or 1964, or you can go even later than that if
I'm
you
going to go
want.
with 1928.
You got it, Jeff. Nailed it. I'm picking young.
Maybe
And so we have this. So I was like, all right, you want to play that game? Let's play that game. So here's the image that I made in Midjourney, which is crazy badass. Of course, that was after about 30 different tries of trying to get like something that I wanted the dragon to be positioned behind this girl, because I'm obviously not gonna
zoom in on that.
Huh?
Trying to see what she has in her hand.
It's one of those fans you open up.
Oh yeah.
So she's actually holding it by the fan part with the because they're little sticks attached to like a thin piece of paper, and you open it up.
Yep.
Fan, but I just like to get everything right, her clothing and stuff, but to have that dragon position right behind her like that, and took a little bit of top. So Emi comes back and says next year is going to be a prosperous year for you, and a little dragon there. I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. I like that. It's pretty badass. And then let's see. XRP Maximo said XRP was created in the year of the dragon, in a dragon year.
Was it? Let's see. 2012. There you go.
So 2012. So look at that. Look at all the connections to the year of the dragon. Got 2024 coming up.
Yep.
Emi says that's right. Coming back full circle. How cool is that, right? So I'm just connected to this one. I'm going to be a prosperous year. That's what I'm looking forward to right there, Jeff.
I think so too. I'm saying it's the year of Make America Great Again.
Again. And you know who famously
and everything
coined that?
else would be possible.
A lot of people think it was Trump, but it wasn't Trump. Do you know who coined that phrase first?
Who coined it?
Ronald Reagan. He said, time to make America great again.
That's right.
Of course, Trump was a fan
now
of
we're doing it again.
Reagan, and they were doing it again. Got to do it again. You got to
keep doing it.
How it's gonna build back up, but
it isn't build back better.
Building back better is not working. I'm gonna be honest. I think and then David Schwartz, the funny guy that he is, Jeff, I cracked up when I saw it. I was laughing so hard I just couldn't stop, because I don't know to believe it or not. I don't know if this is like fake, but if the premise of this is funny as hell. So David Schwartz said, I wore this to an après-ski themed party. Turns out nobody but me and my wife dressed to the theme. Everybody else was in fancy cocktail attire. Also, the mayor
Oh
of San
no.
Francisco was there. You cannot be serious. I'm like, look at this, Jeff.
Oh my God.
He shows up with the ski attire on, Jeff. Come on, look at this, huh?
That is awesome.
I mean, at least he didn't wear ski boots. That would have been really awkward, right?
That would have
Like,
been great.
you know how hard those are to walk in because you're like,
Look
you
at
got
that.
that.
It's like a
Look at this. And I don't know what he's doing with his phone, if he's communicating with aliens or
1980s.
satellites. I don't know what's going on there, but
I don't get it.
I'm like, look at David Schwartz. I'm
Got the
like,
goggles.
can you imagine? Yeah, mayor's like, I don't know, dude. What's going on? You all right, buddy? I mean, what's the deal? Everybody else is in fancy cocktail attire. Well, dude, they're probably wearing like, it was probably black tie, and they said it was at a ski theme party. So I don't know. I don't know to believe this or not, but this is a funny premise. It looks like it might be in a hotel or something. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Hey, so since we're coming up on, on time here pretty soon, I have to, so we've always had some conversation about Apple product versus whether it's Google or Microsoft or whatever it might be, and to be very maximalist on the purchase of an item. So now there might be something here that could actually get me to buy an
Whoa.
Apple product, something that I
Whoa.
never would have done before.
Can somebody clip that?
What's that?
I'll change it. I'll change it with AI, and it says, "I am buying an Apple product." Jeff will change you, and we'll change your mouth. Like, look, Jeff loves Apple, and that'll be a clip I
I
play.
love the Apple product. So here we go. So you're obviously familiar with the AirPods, and I think it's crazy to spend as much money as they want for these AirPods to get maybe as an audiophile. I don't know if they meet to that, but they're so small and they can fall out of your ear. Then you lose them real quick.
These things are the greatest things ever, right?
Exactly like that. There
If
you
you're
go.
smart enough, I'm not going to put my number on there, but if you're smart enough, I don't know if you can see that.
You put your phone number on there, so in case you lose
phone
it,
number
someone calls you.
Put my name, Chip, and my phone number.
Someone calls you, says,
Took
"Hey,
me-
by the way, I'm the one who has your AirPods."
No, it
Click.
took me. It took it like, if you're going to get it inscribed, it's going to take an extra 2 weeks. And I'm like, what? So I finally got it. So I've had these for a couple years, and I was out walking the dog, and boom, they fell out of my pocket. Didn't even realize it. Probably when I was cleaning up after my dog. Anyway, all of a sudden I get a phone call. I was like, "Hey, did you lose some earpods?" And I'm like, "Dude, I've been looking all over for them." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I was riding my bike. I saw them, threw them in my pocket." And he goes, "And I saw your number on there. So, I'd like to get them back to you." And turns out this guy, I had to drive like 3 or 4 miles to his house. I handed him $40 or $50. I'm like, "Dude, take it." He goes, "No, man." He goes, "If they were mine, I'd want them back." I said, "Look, you did the right thing. I would have had to buy a new pair. It would have cost me $200. So here, just please take it. I'm super excited." He goes, "Oh, thanks, man." But right, it could have been the other call, like, "Hey, buddy, I got your freaking
Thank you.
AirPods." But these things are awesome.
So here we go. So here's the one thing that might push me in that direction, because the one thing I always struggle with when I'm flying is remembering to bring my headset with me. And I accidentally, when I was packing up my bags, I had a real nice pair of Sennheiser headset,
Yeah.
and I left them on the seat. I was packing all my stuff in the bag, and somehow I didn't pack the case in my bag. I get on my next flight. I'm like, son of a bitch, I left my headset on the last flight. And of course, they don't get back to me because I didn't have my name and number on them. But, and then I've been looking for that exact set because they would compact real nicely, and I could fit them in there over ear instead of the ones that go all the way around your ear. Because I don't
Nice.
like that feeling with it
I don't
over
like
your
it
ear.
either.
But they were just like on top of your ear, and they felt nice. They were comfortable for long flights, and they had sound noise canceling. So you turn them on to just cancel out the noise. So now I have a nice set of my running headset, similar headset like this that kind of locks into your ear. So that's what I wear now, but they're still doesn't have the noise canceling. So I saw this, and I'm like, man, look how cool this is. AirPods to listen to movie audio in flight on Delta. But obviously, it's just their new plane, so it's just one plane. But I think that's such a great idea to where you can go wireless on the plane,
because you know how
and
you
you
get
get a
up.
nice pair of AirPods with noise canceling. And there you go. Now I'm all set.
one of the things I like about the AirPods that are really nice is they have active listening. So you can enhance, like, you know, if you wanted to, you can enhance, like sometimes I'm walking, there's like nature and birds and stuff. I'll crank it up a little so it enhances the sound. But I always hated those things. You put them in your ears and it kind of blocks that, so you don't hear really well. But these are
Right,
active listening, so
exactly.
you can actually hear
You can
outside.
hear
It's
what
almost like you don't have them in your ears. And then you can put noise cancel on. You just click and hold, and it just. Poof. I remember I used
that's
to cut
cool.
the lawn. I would crank some Stone Temple Pilots,
Right.
and it was just like I'd be cranking that or some Zeppelin. I just like something that's going to get me, you know, fired up. And I'd turn that on. I would laugh. I'd be like, "Oh my god!" With the music on, that lawnmower sound cancels it right out. So pretty awesome.
Yep. So hydroponics. Alan is saying he had a nice pair of Sennheiser also earbuds, lost them, ended up getting the Samsung Galaxy Pros, and anything that will kind of tie into the phone would be great. But then Kelly's talking about, you know, the problem with these earpod things is that they're not causing ear issues or eye issues. They're actually causing ear
Here,
issues, fungus, and all that crap. And
been
that's
wearing religiously for 3 years, man. Zero problems. But
just
I
got to
clean
make
them
sure
up.
you keep
I
them
clean 'em up.
clean. Keep them,
Yeah,
yeah, clean 'em with alcohol.
clean them. I've got a little cleaner, and I alcohol swab them, and then I change every once in a while. Every couple months, I change out the things because they after you clean them a couple times, they get a little bit.
What things?
See, Tony says I have them for 2 years, so
2
there you
years
go.
and they're great.
Tony, any
Oh,
fungus problems over there? I guess, yeah, I guess if you have like lots of yucky, weird stuff, I guess I could see where almost putting anything in
yeah.
your ears weren't meant to have things in them. We wear these. This is a old uh oh, what's the name of it? Bose. These are Bose, and they sound phenomenal, and they're wired. I will sometimes use these, but I don't like using just because I don't know what the charge is on these because I use them all the time.
What's
I don't
that?
want to come in here. The ear pods. The
Oh,
reason why would I go with wired when I have ear pods sitting right here? And the problem is that
right.
my phone rings, it'll switch over to my phone, and everything's seamless. So I'm listening to something on my phone. I flip on play a video here, it just seamlessly
Hmm.
switches to the YouTube video I'm playing, and then something on my phone, and then boom, I switch over here. It's like seamless, so it's connected, and then I have
Very cool.
control. If I want to connect, so I really really appreciate that
But
as
then
well.
on a plane, I think I would still prefer a wired headset because then you don't have to worry about it charging, especially if you're
Well,
on a long flight.
my neighbor
On a
Jeff,
short flight, but a
his
long
name
flight.
is Jeff, and he was telling me that he left his ear pod. He was bummed out. He's like, because I saw him cutting the grass. I'm like, hey man, how come you're not listening? So he goes, oh man, he goes, I was on a flight.
Hmm.
I left them in the pocket, and I was like, God. And
I
so
see
like
people
for
do that
me,
all the time.
so I'll tell you, Jeff, I have a really cheap pair that it's like a
Hmm.
$20 Amazon pair, and I had to buy a new one like every year. They kind of wear out, and
Mhm.
I just put one of them. It's a wireless. I put it in my ear. It's not for listening to music, but I mostly listen to like podcasts or YouTube video, and I'll fall asleep listening to it.
Hmm.
And like I don't, and what I bring on a plane aren't these either because I know that will happen to me. I have sunglasses that only stay in my vehicle. They don't come out. If I get out, I have a cheapo pair that I put on because those I will never lose. And somehow if I lose them, they always find their way back to me. You lose a $200, $300 pair of sunglasses, as soon as you take them out of the vehicle, they're gone, Jeff. That's why I don't do that. I'm like, they stay in the
Oh,
vehicle and I never
uh,
lose them. I
man,
take them
I'm
off.
I'm religious with my sunglasses. I have a couple different pairs, and well, if I'm traveling, I always have a case. If I'm going out and about, that's the worst thing. It's like you go out, it's, early, like late afternoon, and you're going out through the evening, and you bring your sunglasses, and then you forget that you have them on, and then you go to dinner, and now it's late. Now you have to carry your sunglasses around. I just put them on my head, so I end up walking around with sunglasses on my head all night long. But I'd rather do that than leave them somewhere, which is what happens. And you have to remember, you have to leave them in your car. Don't lose them, and make sure when you're traveling, always bring a sunglass case with you and put the sunglass case in your bag. So the reason why one of the reasons why I carry a bag when I'm traveling is so I can put my keys and my sunglasses someplace if I'm flying. So I always
Yeah.
have that bag. If I'm not bringing a laptop, I still bring the bag so I can have those few little items and not worry about it.
Got the little off of our merch store. It's a little bag about this big. It's got a zipper. It's like made out of heavy duty, sort of a canvas thing. And all of my accessories, like my wires, my cables, my chargers, I just throw it all in there. So that's always in my backpack. Someone said something funny. I can see you laughing. Then I zip it. I grab whatever I need out. That way I can always follow it. And it's it has the XRP to I believe XRP's magic. And then on the other side, it's got the big logo. which is pretty cool.
Mark, Mark is saying I wear clip-on sunglasses, and that's why the chicks dig me. Just saying.
I'm sure they totally dig that, man. Everyone loves a pair of clip-on sunglasses.
Kelly says keeps a case in my purse and religious about putting them in it. See, that's the key, is that if you have your case, it's in your purse or your backpack or your bag, briefcase, whatever, always take your sunglasses, put them back in the case, and make sure you have the case in your bag. Otherwise, you'll lose them. That's key.
That will happen.
Jim D
Remember,
says I have a bad habit leaving my date at the bar when the bill comes.
yeah. Remember, there was a ZZ Top song called "Cheap Sunglasses." It
Yep.
says, that was of course we can't play that here because
Why not?
it says,
Oh, we
"Try to beat
could.
Miss Masses, go get yourself some cheap sunglasses." I was listening to some ZZ Top the old ZZ Top, not the
Okay.
1980s, the
Kelly's bringing
70s.
up another point there. People don't clean stuff enough. Same with phones. That's the thing. Imagine people going to the bathroom, they have their phone. I see this all the time. You go into the bathroom and you see someone walking out of the bathroom and not washing their hands. And I see it, if you're in the airport or you're in a public restroom, even if I'm in the Delta Lounge, I'll see people walking out of the Delta Lounge bathroom without washing their hands. And then I get to the door. I'm like, how am I going to open the door now?
Well, sometimes they have that one where you can use your arm to open it.
You can use your arm, or they have the one with your foot. And you can pull it open.
Foot, you don't get as
And if
much.
not, yeah. But I'm like, what the hell? It's like, why can't you wash your hands? You're walking out of the bathroom. At least wash your hands before I have to go now open the same door that you just opened. That drives me crazy.
This is a cool meme that Elon Musk put up here. Let me share this one. This is so appropriate, Jeff. This ties right into the conversation. Luckily, I was able to find it. But there is a phone booth in 1992, and there's a phone
Oh
booth.
yeah, that's so true. That's so funny.
Right, so that's your phone booth right there. It's like, I thought that was a freaking funny meme.
That's really funny. I saw that. That was funny.
Yeah, and it's like,
Leo said, on one side we have Mr. Skin, on the other side we have Mr. Hair.
damn. Well, if you go to Mr. Skin's website, if you know who Mr. Skin is, but and the reason I know about him is from Howard Stern, because Mr. Skin has a website that only talks about the exact part of the movie where nudity occurs. So I don't know if we want to call that the job, Mr. Skin.
No.
Yeah, because Stern's always talking about it. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I just hour 122 on the use the paper towel. Yeah, I always do that too. You get the paper towel and you got to
There's
shoot
not
it.
always paper towel in every bathroom.
Well, I use tissue, toilet tissue, because and listen, I don't care about this climate shit. I don't care about this. When I go in the bathroom in a public restroom, I don't want to blow my hands with dirty water that's been blowing all over the floor, nasty shit that people are touching it with.
Especially the one you have to put your hand in. Like,
yeah, you put your hand, you're like, you get grossed out as soon as you touch the side, you're like, ooh, and you touch it again, you're like,
you gotta go wash your hands again.
They go, and then they always say, like, we believe in, a clean planet. No, you don't. You believe in saving money. You don't want to buy this stuff. I get it, but have two choices. Let the nutbirds out there that want to go ahead and touch everything with their hands, let them use that stuff. And because I'll even at times, Jeff, and if you use toilet paper, you can't do this because it ends up all over your hands. So you have to take this, you have to roll it around your hand, and you got to gently pat, and it sometimes still sticks to your hand. You're like, dude, I've
never used toilet paper to dry my hands after someone has taken a dump in the bathroom, and then I'm going to use the toilet. But what I do, at least if they have the paper towels, sometimes they come out like this, and I just keep putting my hand under. You get like 8 of them, and I'll dry my hands and I'll throw it away. I never take just one. I take at least 4 or 5 pieces of paper towel.
Put your hand there, it goes. Well, it used to give you a decent sized towel.
Now they're like 2 inches. Like, what the hell am I going to do with that?
You're like collecting them, you know what I mean? In your hand, you're trying to wash your hands, and then that's soaking wet, and you wash another one, and they make you feel like if they just give you a decent sized thing, and it's made out of the worst paper, it's not even absorbent. Right. One wash of the hand, the whole thing's soaking wet. You're like, how did that happen? Like, what the hell? It's just. Anyway, I don't know how we get off on this tangent, but that's what we do here on the chain. So come, if you're here on the Saturdays.
In the Delta Lounge, they have to have the whole kind of higher end experience in the bathrooms. But instead of having the automatic soap dispenser, they have the hand pump soap dispenser. So it's like you're using a nicer gel, like,
Yeah.
but then you still have to pump it with your hand instead of having the nice put it under. But you know what drives me crazy in the public bathrooms though, when you go to take the soap, right? And it's like you're invisible. Like you see someone else go in front of you, they put their hand under, the soap comes out, and then they put their hand under the water and it works. Then I'll walk over and I put my hand under the soap and it doesn't work. I'll go to the next one, it doesn't work. Go to the third one, it works. Then I go to the sink there and it doesn't work. I'm like, what the hell? Like I'm invisible.
Yeah, I don't know, Jeff. It's always yeah, I mean the whole thing, and then like I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like I hang on a second, let me push this up. I've talked about this many times, but
It'd be really cool in a bath. I want to put a urinal in my bathroom in the house. Thought that'd be really cool, like a really nice one.
Jeff, this is in all of our bathrooms right here. So, and this is the greatest thing. Now I have a travel one that is in my backpack. So I have a travel tushy, and this is the modern bidet for people who poop. Jeff, remember we became so this is what it looks like right here. Let me just put that open there. But they've got so this is at 8 minutes will change the future of your butt forever. And this is the greatest thing. Like they have one, so this giant stream of water comes up. And if you put it too high, dude, you might blow a hole, like an extra hole in there. It's like, it's the greatest thing ever. Like I can confidently say I have the cleanest butthole anywhere ever. And like, so when I'm traveling, I'm like, oh my God, I don't have my tushy, right? So you can compare these. And if you live in a cold climate, they have it's heated. They've got a bunch of different ones, but I'll tell you what, man, I bought it for presents for people, and they were like, thank you. And then all of a sudden they're like, thank you. When they find out like how it works, you're like, okay, this is the greatest thing ever, man. They also have bamboo, toilet paper and a brush, one of these, because this is the thing that's really cool too. It's the brush. It's so you
toilet paper
pads, because the worst thing about them is like you're cleaning the bathroom and then that stuff ends up in the thing.
Oh, these are the plastic thing, yeah.
So these are disposable. It clips on there. You're done. I mean, it's like this company right here. I'm telling you.
Man, I like that. A disposable brush. That's the most disgusting thing is when you take the brush, you put it back in the plastic holder.
Now, what's great about this, it comes in its own case. And like, there's a pocket just on my backpack that this little, the Tushy Travel is. And it expands. So you fill it with water. It's got the exact thing. And you clean yourself, man. It's really great, I mean, obviously it's just the greatest thing I've ever seen, Jeff. I'm telling you right now, it's the greatest thing in this Tushy, man. I can tell you guys, if you want to treat yourself to something, get one of these. And and their advertisings are fun too. I get these funny emails. They give the whole little pamphlet on poop, and it's like the history. It was a little bit crazy, but it's good stuff. A little behind on gift giving. Give free expedited shipping, $69. Guys,
Hey,
get yourself.
Marcus saying all these problems are resolved if you simply move to a Democrat city where dropping a deuce on a public sidewalk is encouraged.
Good point.
Jim said 75% of bathroom sink water faucets, hand sensors, never fire a streak of water, which is true.
Isn't that the truest thing ever, dude? I mean, it absolutely is, man.
Roland, I hate when the TP holder is so low, you're touching the floor with your paper and hard to cut nicely. Like Smurfs installed them when they put it.
Oh yeah. So, can you hear this, Jeff?
Yep.
Developing the perfect
the wipes.
a lot of thoughtful iteration. With this new design, we wanted to improve on this already amazing Tushy bidet design and hone in on the details that make for a truly best-in-class product. We've repositioned the nozzle wash.
That's right. We registered.
Self-cleans before and after each use.
What's that?
We'd registered as a referral partner for them, but never promoted it.
We have to do that, Jeff. We have to promote our link for the
automatically. When you turn the dial on, the first setting is a nozzle wash where water flows down.
That's the other thing too, is like as you turn it on, it washes the nozzle off. It's freaking one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Do they have a female version as well? Like a friend of mine, he ordered one from Japan, and it has all sorts of like settings on it. But it's
My
like,
parents have one, and it's got a remote control, and it glows and all that stuff. Worst bidet I've ever used, and I'm like, take this crap back. My brother bought it. I was like $600 for him. I was like, this is low. They have one that has like more settings and stuff. But I'm telling you, man, this thing is the greatest thing ever. Your back end will be so happy, man. Look, see this one right here, Tushy.
IT support said, "How'd you get onto
Doesn't
this
matter
topic
how we
in
got
the
on it.
first place?"
Oh,
I have
yes,
no
I'm-
idea how we got into this topic. I
I'm
don't
trying
know
to educate.
where did it
Here,
start?
bum front
There's your
dry.
remote.
There it is. It has a dryer built into it. I just pat it with some paper towels. Well, the other one of the bidet companies, I saw them, and the way they advertised it, and they said like they took peanut butter and they smeared it on, and they go like, what washes better? And they're taking toilet paper trying to get it off, and it's just smearing it all over, or water, and it comes right off. And you're like,
Okay.
all right, guys, this is educational channel. Crypto Eddie does fluff. We do random moronic
Random
topics for your pleasure.
That's why Ray said. That's why I like this show. First crypto, then politics, and finally cleaning your tush.
Right on, Ray. You see how that works?
That's how it works. That's what.
See, they've got two different sizes. What size is yours? You know, your toilet bowl shape. And I'm telling you guys
the
laugh.
elongated or the round. There you go.
See what I
Interesting.
mean?
Yeah.
This kid is funny too. If you watch that commercial, you unbox it. Honestly, it took me maybe 15 minutes to install it. Click, 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 boom, boom. This is their like heavy duty one where you get this cool remote. See, it does have the front version there. The front,
yeah.
the dry, you know, the different angles. I just do twerking on the toilet, Jeff. Like they have a little nozzle thing you can move around. I just, you know, it's like a little dance on the toilet. But I'm telling you, man, I'm super happy about it.
Mike's what a stocking stuffer. There you go.
It is a stocking stuffer, Mike.
Perfect
I'm
for
telling
the
you,
holiday.
this,
Order it
if
now.
we steered you wrong, Mike, we have not. Mike will be. We've not steered you wrong. But anyway, we've gone a little long here in the tooth. Talking about random stuff. I don't know what we're talking about, but that's just how it works here on the chain. Two dudes. That's what you have to. I mean, thing is, it's sporadic, right? You guys drive the show. We put tons of stuff that we're going to talk about. Half the stuff we never get to. Why? Because of times like this, right? It just it just happens. What are you going to do, man? You know, it's just the way that it works here on the chain. What are you going to do, right? I mean, it's just kind of the nature of the beast.
This all has to do with gas fees. See?
Oh God, that's why I love this crowd, right? That's
and
what
it's not true
Rob,
unless you tell us.
yeah, Rob McDermott always says that the reason I love your show is like two guys bullshitting about crypto. It's like you feel like just two guys hanging out with two guys that are talking about crypto, politics, and nonsense. I was like,
nonsense.
You nailed it, dude. That's the show. And that's why we have 25,000 subs, because there's not a lot of appetite for this kind of stuff. But if you put an 8-minute video and talk about the buyback program, it's $16,000 each. I'm sorry, $116,000. I'm sorry, $300 million each XRP. Then you end up with 100+ subscribers. If you talk complete bullshit and hype and everything, well, then you can grow a channel. I'm sorry, man. Not worth it for me. I still have a soul, Jeff.
Funny
still have
stuff.
morals. I still have
funny stuff.
So that's how it is. That's how it is. Yeah, you have to have a bathroom pipe to have a separate bidet.
Bidet. That's why the seats are nice, because then you don't have to have a separate one. And the separate ones have been around for a long time.
And they're not good, Jeff.
Europe.
You go to a nice hotel, they have it in there. You sit on it, you're like, dude, I just use my travel Tushy. I almost want to have one that's like you just install it while you're in the hotel room and you uninstall it. I mean, just like a throwaway or something. I don't know.
There you go. Here's Jim D. You got to talk about toiletries if you talk about shit coins, just to be comprehensive. Shite. Shit.
I don't believe in shite coins. I don't believe in them at all. I think like, hey, do your own research.
There's a lot of shit coins out there.
There are, man. But even the like, Jesus token, Jeff, like someone created a Jesus token. It started pumping, and all of the memes you can imagine around Jesus came, anything you can imagine about it just kind of came out. I'm like, all right, well, what's the project? It's just Jesus. All right, well, where's it going? Nowhere. Just so you can come up with any meme coin. It pumps for a little bit. If you buy enough of it and it quadruples, you made some money. I don't know. That's your thing. Cool. I mean, I guess
we're going to the UK. I'm gonna go over there and get my head polished. There you go. I don't know why you'd want to do that. I don't see the point of that. But
they flip it over your head.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you imagine if you had a light beaming off your head? glaring.
Right, exactly. That'd be really funny. Kelly, typically our wealthy European clients have had bidets piped in more so. Yeah, the US clients not so much.
Those bidets are old school. They probably were great in the 60s. You thought like, I don't even like the way they work. I mean, this Tushy thing, man, will change your life, man. Funny thing is I'm always buying gadgets around the house, and my wife was like, she was like, "What did you buy?" I'm like, "It's in the bathroom." She goes, "I don't see it." I'm like, "Look at the toilet." She goes, "What the hell is that?" I'm like, "That's gonna be
You'll
your new
see.
best friend." She's like, you should really ask me before you buy these purchases." Next morning, walks out of the bathroom, buy not a word, just this. And I was like, "Okay." 'Cause I'm always buying some sort of thing, different gadget. I'm like, "This will be really cool." And usually it doesn't go over so well, but that one went over well.
Get the
Wooden
wooden
cold.
cold wallet for the JC token.
There you go. There you go.
Talking about plumbing. That's it, Chip. It's an hour
That's
20. We got to get out of here.
We did our fluff.
We did
on
our part. We did our
the
part.
did our part. And there's still 71 people here to listen, so we appreciate that.
Hmm.
And we'll be back tomorrow night on Rumble at 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
Eastern
Eastern Standard
New
Time.
York time, Miami time, whatever you want to use. And then then on Wednesday night as well, we'll be doing a show, which again has more of a politics slant to it. Not that this show doesn't, but if you didn't know, we sort of very conservative take on stuff, and the U.S. version of conservative, because I don't know what they call themselves, conservatives in Australia or the UK. I'm like, no, you're just a little bit left of center. I don't call that conservative. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
Hmm.
But that's all we have. Jeff, you want to say anything before we get out of here?
All we have. It's all we got. It's great
We
to have
got.
you guys here with us. We appreciate all of you, whether you're over here on Rumble or you're over here on YouTube or you're tuning in on X. Appreciate all of everyone joining us. We will be live tomorrow night streaming over on Rumble. We won't be on YouTube tomorrow night, but join us on Rumble. Make sure you guys are following us over there. Let me throw that link in real quick just so you have it. Go to Rumble real quick on your way out. Click that and hit the follow, because when you hit the follow, then you're going to be following us over on Rumble and you'll be notified when we go live. Unfortunately, some of the notifications on Rumble have been like 20 to 25 to 28 minutes after we start streaming, which is really bizarre. Don't understand why it takes so long to give the notification. Like today, the notification went up like 20, 30 minutes early on YouTube, and then on the Rumble, it takes time sometimes. So make sure you join early, but get over there. Join us over on Rumble. We'll be there tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's all we got. Look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.
Yeah, and I just want to say over there on Rumble, Tune to Key said, "You remember when the world went crazy over toilet paper? Never again with a bidet." Yeah, I mean, worst case is, especially have the one the dryer, but I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Hang on. XRP Speedboat saying, check your email.
It's so much
You guys
spam on
aren't
there.
responding. What's in the email? Let's see.
What's in there?
What is in the email?
Look at it, Jeff.
The
What do you see?
email. The email.
Oh,
The
Jeff,
email.
we have
Who is it
stuff.
from? When did
Yeah,
it
you
come
gotta
over?
you
There's
gotta
so
put
much
the
stuff.
so much stuff in here. My God.
Oh, here we go. I got it right here.
What is
Let's
it?
see. I'm trying to open it. Let me see. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's not
When
it.
did you send it? What day?
When did you send it? How long has it been in there? What are we checking? I don't see anything over here. I don't know how we got such so much junk mail in here.
Well, a lot of stuff we signed up for, but we probably have to probably get some of it. There's like podcasting things. We get alerts from, Thinking Crypto, and, just a bunch of different stuff
Too
here.
much stuff.
Unchained Elephants and FinTech and
Our
there's
own
still
stuff. Here's something from
podcast.co, our weekly stats, our daily
yeah,
stats.
I don't know. I don't see anything.
I don't see anything either. I was like, did you sent it from the website? I don't see
Maybe
anything.
I'll try again later.
Yeah,
Try
you
over
gotta-
here to email or send it over to send it to our Twitter, or X, DMX on the chain. That'd be cool.
So try again later.
Got nothing.
Rumble's
Nothing.
down. Hodl the auto. So that's
Yeah,
weird.
Rumble just went down actually. Just as I was logging in, it just says we did that, Rumble went down.
Weird.
Rumble is currently unable to handle this request. Rumble is officially down. How crazy is that?
That's weird. Yeah, for some reason I can't find find the email in here. I don't know why, but I don't see. I'm looking all through all the stuff.
I
So I
wonder
don't
how
know.
Rumble goes down like that.
It's rough.
Completely offline.
Yeah, we were in the middle of our show too, Jeff.
But it's completely offline. That's all we got.
So we got. We're gonna get here.
That's interesting. Rumble was under a big cyber attack about a month ago when users were complaining about the platform. So now all of a sudden it's just down.
Well, the same way they're going after Elon Musk and his platform and trying to take him down. Rumble's going to be subject to attack as well. So, but that's it, guys. We're going to get out of here. We'll see you guys in the next one. All right, Chip and Jeff. Out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.